Feiyu was at his limit, clinging desperately to the cliff edge. His hands were bloody. Above him, feral wolf gang thugs raised weapons to crush him. Han Li watched from the shadows, but he could not watch his only friend die. Before they could strike, Han Li made his move. He released a burst of spiritual energy. It blasted the lead thug off the cliff. He disappeared into the abyss instantly. Han Li stepped into the moonlight and offered his hand. Feiyu stared at him, shocked to see the quiet guy from a medicine garden save him. Han Li pulled him up. The setting sun summit was in flames and covered in blood. He sat Feiyu down and asked about the situation. Their sect was on the verge of total destruction. Hearing how desperate things were, Han Li did not waste breath on comforts. He put high-grade medicine pills into his friend's hands, telling him to rest and promising to take it from there. The battle had reached its bloodiest climax. Disciples of the Seven Mysteries sect fought desperately with their staves, attempting to hold back the brutal waves of the feral wolf gang. Standing tall above the raging fire, the enemy leader watched triumphantly, believing victory was within his grasp. But as the ground suddenly trembled, the sect leader stepped forward, raising his hand to halt the violence. His terrifying, calm confidence forced the feral wolf gang leader to pause in sudden caution. Deep within the mountain, a devoted disciple held the primary lever, waiting for the final, fatal command. To understand this terrifying standoff, we must look back at the sect's hidden history. Centuries ago, the legendary founder of the Seven Mysteries sect personally designed a secret network of grand mechanisms. He spent a lifetime completely remodeling and hollowing out the entire mountain range, weaving thousands of massive bronze cogs into the very roots of the earth. This ancient system was never built as a defensive shield. It was engineered as a terrifying doomsday device designed for absolute mutual destruction. If the final trigger is pulled, the founder's mechanisms will violently reject the earth, causing the entire mountain foundation to instantly shatter. The majestic peaks will fracture and collapse into a chaotic void of floating debris and crushing rocks, burying everything alive. The sect leader was playing his ultimate card. He was forcing a horrifying psychological stalemate, letting the invaders know that if they didn't retreat immediately, the founder's ancient creation would awake, turning this entire mountain into a massive, inescapable tomb for both friend and foe alike. The terrifying threat of total destruction forced a sudden, breathless stalemate upon the mountain. Realizing an all-out war would leave nothing but ashes, the Grand Masters of the Seven Mysteries sect stood their ground with iron expressions. Across the courtyard, the brutal vanguard of the feral wolf gang stared back, heavy with the scent of blood and ready to tear their prey apart. Under the cold, eerie glare of a full moon, thousands of warriors gathered around a massive, ancient stone arena built right on the cliff's edge. To prevent total annihilation, a deadly compromise was struck, a winner-take-all series of one-on-one death matches. Sitting under the ferocious shadow of the wolf banner, the gold-crowned leader of the feral wolf gang, Tianlong, calculated his odds. Blinded by his immense greed, Tianlong flashed a wicked smile and accepted the gamble, entirely because he was secretly backed by a rogue cultivator known as Monk Goldenlight. Yet, amidst the intense political theater, a silent shadow observed from the crowd. Han Li watched the unfolding drama with calculated detachment, his piercing gaze cut through the mortal deception, instinctively sensing the unnatural, terrifying spiritual pressure radiating from Monk Goldenlight who loomed in the shadows. Then, the drums of doom echoed through the night as the first match commenced. Elder Ma, a legendary champion and vice master of the Seven Mysteries sect, bearing twin swords upon his back, stepped into the ring with absolute resolve. In one fluid motion, Elder Ma drew his dual blades, their edges gleaming like starlight with a lethal aura. He stood ready to defend his sect, completely unaware that he was about to face the supernatural fury of a real cultivator. The clash of eras begins on the summit. Elder Ma unleashes the absolute pinnacle of mortal martial arts, his dual blades blurring into a whirlwind of lethal steel. Sparks fly as weapon meets weapon, a chaotic dance of speed. But mortal limits are meant to be broken. Defying gravity, Monk Goldenlight leaps into the air, landing effortlessly right on the tip of Elder Ma's blade. Terrifying power washes over the master as the monk releases a wave of magical energy, conjuring a volatile golden orb that shakes the entire arena. To end all hope, the monk activates his ultimate defense, an impenetrable golden bell barrier, proving no mortal mastery can ever pierce a cultivator's wrath. Yet, a martial master never surrenders. Gathering his remaining strength, Elder Ma launches himself headfirst into the divine barrier. His blades strike the glowing bell, unleashing blinding ripples of golden energy, slashing repeatedly in a desperate storm of steel. Inside, Monk Golden Light smiles cruelly, amused by the futile struggle. Suddenly, a massive pillar of heavenly light erupts. Down in the stands, Hanli watches with an intense gaze. Witnessing this boundless gap between flesh and the divine, Han Li's worldview is altered forever, cementing his destiny to pursue the immortal path. Back on stage, Elder Ma's sword grinds powerlessly against the barrier. The monk points a single, lethal finger. With a final roar, Ma's ultimate strike fails under the dark sky. The divine barrier unleashes a violent countershock, blasting the Grandmaster away like a broken doll. He crashes heavily onto the stone bleachers, severely wounded and spitting fresh blood. But the legend of the Seven Mysteries sect does not end here. Showcasing the absolute peak of mortal willpower, Elder Ma forces his broken body back onto his feet. He is battered, he is bleeding, but he still possesses the strength to fight on. Seeing his prey refuse to die, Monk Golden Light's amusement turns into pure malice. Without a second thought, he activates a glowing golden talisman, channeling his spiritual energy to transform it into a colossal, flaming flying sword that tears the stone ground apart. Instantly, the monk unleashes his deadly flying sword technique, sending the flaming weapon spinning into the night sky, weaving a net of absolute destruction as it launches a continuous, merciless assault directly at the defiant old master. The battle escalates into an impossible clash of flesh and magic. As the flaming flying sword locks onto him, Elder Ma refuses to back down. Utilizing his supreme agility, he leaps high into the air, spinning desperately to dodge the blinding gold streak. The divine weapon misses its initial strike, arching gracefully past the full moon before turning back with thunderous, unstoppable momentum. Crashing back to the platform, Elder Ma drops into a solid horse stance, thrusting his palms forward to unleash decades of accumulated inner chi to construct a final barrier. The collision is cataclysmic. Mortal inner strength directly clashes against the furious onslaught of the Cultivator's flying sword technique, unleashing a violent, endless storm of sparks across the entire summit. Tianlong erupts into savage triumph while the Seven Mysteries sect stares into total annihilation. But from the depths of despair, Hanli steps out. A brilliant burst of green spiritual energy explodes from his palm. Holding a glowing golden talisman, he stuns the entire crowd. Hanli calmly walks up to the golden bell barrier, shattering the monk's confidence into sheer terror. The incoming flying sword is caught barehanded, reverting into a harmless talisman. Cowering in greed, the monk demands his artifact back. Hanli steps forward, but instead of mercy, he flicks a devastating, incandescent fireball. The spiritual inferno engulfs the tyrant instantly, vaporizing his body into flying ash in the midnight wind. The mortal war is over. The unthinkable happens on the summit. Hanli displays his power as a cultivator, stunning everyone into absolute silence. Amidst the scorched earth, he calmly kneels to inspect the glowing remains of his foe. Beneath the ash, he finds a mysterious token that survived the intense fire. He picks it up and examines it closely, completely unbothered by the chaos around him. Looking composed and indifferent, Hanli is already calculating his next move. But the desperate mortal warlord refuses to accept defeat. Tianlong turns with savage fury, realizing his trump card is gone, but his numbers still rule the night. With a ruthless roar, he commands his men to attack. Rows of elite wild wolf gang archers raise their heavy crossbows, raining death upon the summit. Flaming arrows blanket the sky, forcing the Grandmasters to slide and dodge frantically across the stone pavement. The illusion of peace shatters as the chaotic gang war erupts once more. A ferocious commander waves his blade forward, leading a massive charge up the mountain. Confronted by the overwhelming wave of enemies, the remaining disciples of the Seven Mysteries sect draw their swords on the ancient stone stairs, bracing themselves to defend their home to the very last breath. The true mortal bloodbath begins. Suddenly, Jia Tianlong attacks Han Li in a final strike. He leaps from the sky under the moonlight, swinging his blade. Landing among the flames, he uses his martial arts for one last stand. But mortal skills fail against the Cultivator. Han Li easily dodges the attack, slams a charging Jia Tianlong onto the stone floor, and grabs Jia Tianlong by the throat with complete indifference. To end this fight once and for all, Han Li unleashes his magic. A fireball technique explodes, turning Jia Tianlong into ash and shaking Setting Sun Summit. The blast forces the Seven Mysteries Masters to shield their eyes. As the flames settle, the remaining disciples stare at the charred remains, finally realizing the terrifying boundary between mortals and cultivators. The dust settles on the ruined battlefield. Han Li raises his hand against the smoke, watching the surviving wild wolf gang break and flee in total defeat. The Battle of Setting Sun Summit is over, and the Seven Mysteries sect survives. Peace finally returns to the mountain. Han Li stands alone in the center of the stone plaza covered in bodies and fading fires, detached from the mortal world. The next morning, the sun breaks through the clouds. Han Li rests quietly in his room. Feiyu awakens and finds Han Li present. Without a word, Han Li gives Feiyu some medicine pills. Feiyu looks at him and asks, "When did you become a cultivator, Han Li? And what is the whereabouts of Zhang Tir?" Han Li lowers his head, calmly explaining the secret of cultivation while briefly glossing over Zhang Tir's disappearance, keeping the dark truth hidden. He then looks at his sheathed dagger. Knowing it is time to move on, he returns the sheathed dagger to Feiyu. "Farewell, brother," sincere words are spoken. They share one last hug, a final gesture of their bond. Han Li turns away and leaves the Seven Mysteries sect behind, stepping forward into a much larger world.